Welcome to this week's edition of The Heart of the Mule, presented by Taylor Industries. I'm joined here with Mule's linebacker number 33, Chase Bollinger. Chase, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and let's go ahead and get started with the faith side of things and just kind of talk about, how did you come to your relationship with Christ?
Okay, I was raised in a Christian family. Mom and dad both Christians, entire family, and I grew up in the church. Went to church, Sundays and Wednesday nights, all throughout my life. But it really wasn't, growing up and into high school, it wasn't my faith. It was just, something that I was kind of born into, and maybe it was just in one ear and out the other. I wasn't, called myself Christian, but I really wasn't. All through high school and the last 4 years here. This is my 5th year. I'm 23 now. But I came to Christ really, and I adopted it as, an actual relationship that I had with Christ last fall. I'd been, living the party lifestyle, all through high school and, and college for 4 years, drugs and alcohol, and just, there just came a point where it was just enough. There were some, consequences of that lifestyle that just, something hit me, and it was just enough. And I had some moments where I was seeking God a little bit, but nothing, too crazy. But I felt the presence of God. I felt, I felt, the love of God, even though I wasn't, living right at all. And that's what struck me, that, God loved me, in my sin, in my, drug addictions, and, and alcohol. And so since last fall, I've really dedicated my life to Christ, so.
Yeah, was that certainly a time in your life where, your faith was really tested, just kind of overcoming, all of the kind of sins that, you had committed?
Yeah, I guess so. It's been tough, living, a lifestyle like I was, and really, and kind of switching it. And that separation from that lifestyle has been, been tough. It hasn't, flipped, and it was completely, those things that I lived were completely out of my life. And it's really been a test of my faith, and I've grown, a lot stronger in my faith.
Absolutely. And talk a little bit about how you got involved with FCA here at UC.
I've known about FCA probably my whole 5 years. They would say it at football practice, FCA tonight, in the offices, and I maybe went once or twice, wasn't interested at all, and I think it was last fall, and I reached out to Derek Hanley a little bit, and we became friends, and I don't know if he invited me, or I knew that he was a leader in doing it, and I just started coming last fall, and kind of made it a habit, and I love it. I'm so thankful for FCA.
Absolutely. And talk a little bit about being not only a college athlete but also being just a student in general. How were you able to balance going to football practice, going in the classroom, and then your spiritual side?
These last 4 years, you really figure out what's important to you. Especially you have football all day in class, and if your relationship with Christ is important, then you'll find time. But it is hard. It's hard for a Christian to keep living.
Absolutely. Yeah, and talk a little bit about how obviously football being such a physical sport, and there's so much emotion that goes into a game. How has your faith really been able to keep you at bay and conduct yourself on the football field?
The thing is, like football, like you said, it is real emotional, and it's an all-in type, mentality. I've used that in my faith, thinking, if I can go crazy, for football, why can't I give the same amount of enthusiasm, for, my faith? But are you talking about keeping?
Yeah, just kind of, just being able to, stay even keel and kind of keeping, God's message in your mind while, in the midst of a heated moment in the game.
Yeah, that's tough. I have a not so proud moment against Northwest my redshirt year. I got kicked out of a game for throwing a punch. A guy ripped my helmet off, and I lost it. There's times out there where it gets, you don't think. It's just after that, I kind of calmed down a little bit. But yeah, with my relationship with Christ, it's always been something, that I think about going into practice and stuff like that, and because it is hard to, let your emotions take a hold of you.
Absolutely. And talk a little bit about how your faith helps you in your studies.
That's another, tough thing, because I've never liked class. School sucks. But as Christians and followers of Christ, we supposed to give our 100% in everything for the Lord, and that's what's really at times motivates me. So,
what's the greatest strength that you find with your relationship with Christ?
Is that I'm saved by grace. It's not something that I've done. It can't be by by works. And that I am saved by grace. It's nothing that I've done. It's something that God's given us. And so I think that's the greatest thing.
You talked a little bit about Derek Hanley being somebody that really helped you out. Is there kind of somebody else that you can think of that has really helped you out with your spiritual?
The first guy I think I reached out to was Kenny Mings. He was in my senior class. I always knew he was a Christian, and he was living like one, and he'd always stayed away from the party scene, and just really and everyone knew he was a Christian and he was different, and he was the first guy I reached out to, and we're still really good friends. He was like I said, the first guy I really reached out to, and we got together on weeknights, and would hang out or read scripture, just stuff like that, and a guy I could go to, and when I was tempted on the weekends, or just like I'd hit him up, hey man, can I come over, and stuff like that. So
yeah, and another person that kind of comes to my mind of somebody who's in that same spiritual path as you is your position coach and defensive coordinator Matt Jeter. Talk a little bit about Matt Jeter and kind of what he's been able to provide as far as spiritually.
Yeah, Coach Jeter has been great. I gave my testimony at Fields of Faith last fall, and he spoke after it, and that was a real kind of special moment for me. I was in my senior year, and just to have my position coach, for me to come out and say the things that I, said, and kind of come out as a Christian in front of my teammates and in front of him was real special. And for him, he was speaking after, and it was just a real, kind of bonding moment, I guess, that we had. And then, we kept, after that, we just kept having small talks and stuff, in his office and stuff, and just he was encouraging me and stuff like that. So,
absolutely. And just to wrap up the faith side of things, you got the Bible in your hand here. Just tell us the verse that you picked, and kind of the significance and what it really means to you.
All right, this is some 1 Timothy chapter 3. It's called Qualifications of Church Leaders. Since I'm a leader in FCA now, and we actually went over this in our Bible study with Derek Hanley and some guys, and there are qualifications for people who are going to be leaders in the church, or in FCA or in ministry. It's real convicting to me, pretty much, I'll go ahead and read it. It's 1 Timothy chapter 3, and it starts in verse 1. If anyone aspires to be an overseer, he desires a noble work. An overseer therefore must be above reproach, the husband of one wife, self-controlled, sensible, respectable, hospitable, and able to teach, not addicted to wine, not a bully, but gentle, not quarrelsome, not greedy, one who manages his own household completely. And it's just, kind of God's message to people who want to be, leaders in, in ministry and of the church, and just kind of keeps me convicted of, if I'm a leader, I can't go out and be, doing the stuff that I was doing. It's really, just a list of things that keeps me, I guess, convicted.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it kind of holds you to a higher standard.
It holds me accountable.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So.
Very good. All right. Well, that's it for the face side of Chase Bollinger here. We'll be back to talk about the football side. Chase Bollinger right after this.
What if television could take us back in time, into the mind of a president?
This is our summer, Mr. Greatness.
And into the soul of a rebel?
I still got the world!
What if we could know how it feels to shoot for the stars, to witness the terrors of combat, and know the heartache of those left at home? And why can't TV remember the heroes we honored, the music we danced to, the dreams we chased?
The hope still lives, and the dream shall never die.
No one tells our nation's story like PBS. Give to your PBS station and help bring America's story to life, now and for generations to come.
I choose to be a champion.
I choose to be inspired.
I choose the perfect fit.
I choose Red to experience learning to a greater degree.
Choose Red. Choose the University of Central Missouri.
Live with a human for a while and you get to know a few things. Like, I know she's actually not a morning person. I know she does strange tricks for no treats. I know that water makes her howl like crazy. I even know how the floor stays so clean. She's quick. But the one thing I will never for the life of me know is how she gets so tiny and inside that box. Natalie, how do you get so tiny?
Welcome to Taylor Tidbits here, presented by Taylor Industries. I'm sitting alongside here with founder and CEO of Taylor Industries, Mike Ballard. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, good to be here.
Absolutely, and go ahead and just tell us a little bit about what Taylor Industries is and what kind of services and products you provide.
Taylor Industries is a manufacturer of medical products. Our main thing that we do here in this facility is ECG electrodes, which are used to monitor your heartbeat. If you're ever in a hospital or say they do a stress test on you on a treadmill, they're going to have them on you to monitor your heart. We also manufacture TENS electrodes for nerve stimulating. And we custom build machinery to do different things.
And you just kind of mentioning here, this is your newest machine here,
Yes.
correct? And,
Yes.
and how many electrodes can this produce in a given time?
This machine here will run at 60 cycles a minute. It makes 2 electrodes at a time, so it's doing 120 electrodes a minute. So should turn out 30-something thousand a day.
And with a machine like this, how long of a process is it from when you establish the order for it to when you actually get it here in the shop?
We typically will tell people it takes anywhere from 18 to 20 weeks. The building of it is not as time constraining as the ordering the cylinders that go on it. They come from a cylinder manufacturer, so we're kind of at the mercy of when they can get that stuff delivered. So, but typically it'll take 2 to 3 months from start to finish. Every machine we build is custom made, so there's only 2 machines that have ever left here that were identical twins. Every other machine, it's custom built for what the customer needs. So there'll be certain stations that may not be on a machine, or certain stations that have to be modified for their needs. So every machine's different.
This is Mike Ballard, the founder and CEO of Taylor Industries. This has been Taylor Tidbits.
I choose excitement.
I choose to make a difference.
I choose uncommon opportunities.
I choose Red to experience learning to a greater degree.
Choose Red. Choose the University of Central Missouri.
What if television could remember the heroes we honored, the music we danced to, the dreams we chased?
The hope still lives, and the dream shall never die.
No one tells our nation's story like PBS. Give to your PBS station and help bring America's story to life.
Pretty much a good day for me would be people leaving their hands off of me. I'm always called names. Everywhere that I go, there's always someone calling me names, calling me gay. I've been choked, thrown up against a wall, punched. Nobody's ever tried to help me.
Hi, I'm Jason Ketz, and thanks for watching this week's edition of The Heart of the Mule presented by Taylor Industries. If you or someone you know would like to be on the show, email us at theheartofthemule@gmail.com. Welcome back to this week's edition of The Heart of the Mule presented by Taylor Industries. Again, sitting alongside with Mules football player, linebacker Chase Bollinger. And Chase, originally from Eureka, Missouri, so you're from the St. Louis area. Just talk about your first introduction to football and what got you started playing.
First year I played football was 6th grade, and played for the Junior Wildcats, Eureka's feeder team. Mm-hmm. My dad was actually a coach, so that was cool. Man, it's a long time ago. No, it was great growing up playing, and especially just being in, since 6th grade I was a Wildcat. I was, it was that Eureka pride was it, instilled in us since 6th grade. So it's kind of, led up to the whole, hometown pride that I have.
I was a former high school football player myself, and I always ask the football players this question, and not very many people understand it, but just talk about what it's like playing under the lights.
Friday nights, man, it's something special. And still, even after I played in college, some of my best times and moments were high school football. Something about having everyone from your town, everyone almost that you care about is there. No, it's something. I think it's much more innocent, I guess, if that's the word, than college. And it's something that we still think about.
Talk about your recruitment process and what made you decide to come to here to UCM?
UCM came to me really kind of late in the process. I think it was in December. Coach Clemens came in to our library, and I remember walking in the room he was sitting in, and he was all fired up and saying stuff, and I was like, man, who is this old guy? And he was so old school, and that's kind of what drew me to him, and he kept talking to me for the next couple of weeks, and really, I think I had my high school coach talk to me because it was between Central and SEMO. Mm-hmm. I think there was a couple other schools, and I didn't know what to do. Didn't know what decision to make, and he was like, go to the school that wants you the most. They'll take care of you, and so Central ended up being that.
Your freshman year, you come in and you ended up redshirting. Just talk about the transition, not only on the football side of things, with coming into a college program, but also just in general, you're in college and you're living on your own for the first time. Just kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, redshirt year was a pretty crazy year. It was awesome. Really, it bonds together your redshirt class. My senior class now. Mm-hmm. We're doing three times a week the redshirt lifts, which are terrible. But that really pulls everyone together. And really, it is the first time we're on our own, and so we're all clinging to each other. And that was one thing that really, you know, looking back at it, that's, you know, that brings us together as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, you come in your redshirt freshman year and you play in 9 games, you get 9 tackles. Just talk about your first college football game that you played in, and you know, what is something that you remember about it?
So the first game was Mo West, yeah, my redshirt year. And that was a long time ago. It was at their place. I remember the first, it was kickoff return, it was the first, and I was the tight end on it. That was the first play I'd ever played. I remember right before kickoff, David Bax said something to me, a defensive end that used to play here, and he was like, "Chase, hit somebody." And I really don't remember what happened that play. I just remember right before that. But it was great. Yeah.
You know, you come back that sophomore season and you played in all 10 games and you had 23 tackles, and you could kind of tell that, you know, your momentum and, you know, everything, all your training and stuff was kind of really starting to come into fruition.
Yeah. It was a big deal. A big part of it was just the film work and the, you know, learning the defense. Really, that holds most people back. Physically, you start developing with, you know, the weight room. That's huge. But then it's knowing the defense and you know, and watching film and really getting the mental was huge for me. Getting more playing time.
Redshirt junior year, you play in all 12 games, 11 starts, 47 tackles, 23 of them solo, 2 sacks. But the real key one here, you had 4 games with at least 5 tackles. You know, just kind of talk about, you know, again, that progression of, you know, going through and being able to really perform at a high level for this team who's been, you know, one of the better in the MIAA since I've been here.
We had a great defense that year. You know, great D-line, Jason Vincicus and Ramon Hunter.
Ramon Hunter, yeah. Alex Perlin was still on that team.
Yeah, Perlin. They're all great friends of mine. We had a great defense. No, it was really just a whole, you know, team effort, just flying around. And again, it was back to the mental side, and, you know, each year getting, you know, watching more film and, you know, spending more hours on our craft.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, this past year, your redshirt senior season, again, all 11 games you played, 24 total tackles, 9 solo. You know, obviously the year didn't end out how you guys wanted it to, but what's something that you're going to remember about this past season?
It was definitely our 2 wins against Missouri Western and Pitt State. Those are 2 teams that I hadn't beat, you know, my whole 5 years here. We hadn't beat them, and it was really, you know, it was great to just get that off our chest, get it off our back, you know, and you know, beat those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, definitely another one that I think of was that Northwest game that, you know, it just, unfortunately, it didn't go our way. But, you know, again, I feel like that this football team is on the cusp of really being able to do something special.
And, we really are, yeah.
Yeah, and no, and you know, again, it goes back to the coaching staff, and obviously it starts with Coach Sabota. Talk a little bit about Coach and you know, just what he's been able to do in your life.
Me and Coach Sabota have had a good relationship. It really, you know, I guess blossomed my senior year. I mean, Coach got closer. You know, I went into his office and talked about some personal things a couple times, stuff that was, you know, I had issues with, and class stuff, and, you know, he really opened up to me and, you know, helped me. And, you know, my senior year was you know, a good time that me and Coach Sabota developed a relationship.
Yeah, we're sitting here in the, you know, in the newly renovated, you know, stadium, and, you know, we've got the brand new weight room to the side. You know, and again, we've talked about, you know, the team is on the cusp of really doing something special. You know, what do you see in the near future for this UCM football team?
National championship, I really do. You know, if we would just, you know, get into the playoffs, I feel like we could roll. You know, we beat each other up in this conference, and we're right there. And so, you know, I see the next couple of years definitely playoff runs, playoff berths, and a national championship.
Yeah, and certainly the MIAA conference is no cupcake whatsoever in football. And, you know, there's all this talk about Northwest and Pitt State and Mo West, you know, all these great teams. But, even UCM, we're a pretty good team as well. And just kind of talk about the gauntlet of playing in MIAA.
Yeah, it's crazy. We were talking about the schedule for next year coming up. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we beat each other up to get out of this conference, and only 2 teams go. And in reality, there's five, maybe 6 teams from this conference that could go out and make playoff runs.
Absolutely.
And I think everyone knows it. So.
You're getting your degree in general studies here in May, and just talk about what's your future plans, and kind of what do you want to do after you graduate?
Yeah, this summer I'm working with Kanakuk Christian Sports Camp down in Branson, Missouri, and so I'll be doing that this summer, being a counselor there. And then during the fall, I'm still undecided, but I may go into the Kanakuk Institute, and it's kind of a, it's a 2-semester thing. It's almost like a, like a seminary or almost Bible college.
Sure.
But it's, from Kanakuk, so that's something that I'm looking into right now, yeah.
Very good, yeah. And it seems like the future's very bright for you, Chase, and yeah, and absolutely great luck, best of luck to you, and doing all your stuff, and we appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. That'll conclude this episode of The Heart of the Mule, presented by Taylor Industries. Again, give a special thanks out to Chase Bollinger for joining us today, and that is it for this week's edition. I'm Jason Ketz. Thanks for watching. God bless, and we'll be back next week. Hi, I'm Jason Ketz, and thanks for watching this week's edition of The Heart of the Mule, presented by Taylor Industries. If you or someone you know would like to be on the show, email us at theheartofthemule@gmail.com.